Welcome to this edition of Engineering Track. How does timber transform to paper? Today, we shall show you process involved in transforming timbers into paper. We have a chat with two engineers who explain the ideal process in building construction in order to avoid building collapse. Watch out for this and more on the show today. But first, engineering news. This is Engineering Track, and I am Temitayo Fagbaron.
Actually, I think of bamboo tree and I could not remember paper, wood.
How to produce paper? You have to use bamboo tree.
In the production of paper, they use trees, is wood, timbers.
That I cannot say, but I know it's the major material used in producing paper is wood.
And just I can't still remember. But I just know that we are using wood combined with paper.
The timber used for paper production comes either from deciduous trees such as birch, poplar, beech, eucalyptus or conifer trees like spruce, fir and pine. Conifer wood has longer fibers than deciduous species and generally forms stronger papers. When the logs arrive at the wood yard, they are fed into a rotation drum which removes the bark. The logs are then chipped. The largest source of wood chips for paper making is recycled, of course, from industrial sawmills. The wood chips are transported to the pulp mill on a conveyor belt. As they enter the pulp mill, the wood chips are fed into a digester, where they are cooked in an acid solution to dissolve the lignin and separate the plant fiber. We call the pulp obtained from this process wood-free because the lignin has been dissolved. The fibers are washed to remove the acid solution and the pulp is now soft and fibrous. Before it can be used to make white paper, the pulp is bleached and any residual lignin which could cause the paper to yellow with age is filtered out. To protect the environment, this bleaching is chlorine-free using oxygen and peroxide. The yellow-brown wood chips that enter the pulp mill have now been turned into a soft white pulp, the principal raw ingredient for making paper. This treated pulp can be dried, baled, and transported to other paper mills, which may either not have their own pulp mill or may require a specific type of pulp to give the paper particular characteristics. Whether produced on site or brought on the market, the pulp enters the paper mill and is mixed with water. The pulp solution is refined by passing it through a series of rotating and stationary blades. These give the fibers a variable degree of clean-cut or fibrillated ends. Fibrillated fiber bring more tightly with adjacent fibers, creating stronger paper. Wood fibers alone would produce rough, textured, and unevenly dense paper, and fillers such as calcium carbonate and clay are mixed in to make the paper more opaque and give it a more controlled density. Dyes, optical brightness, and sizes may also be blended into the pulp to improve the appearance of the paper. By far the most important process material is water. About 100 liters of fresh water are needed to make 1 kilogram of paper. Sophisticated wastewater treatment plants and closed water circulation systems on the paper line allow over 90% of this water to be recycled. The pulp solution is now a carefully controlled mix of fibers, fillers, and coloring agents suspended in water, ready to enter the paper mill. A continuously running series of manufacturing processes that will convert the pulp solution into the perfect paper grade for each market application. The head bowl is located at the beginning of the paper machine. Here, the pulp solution is injected at high pressure directly into the space between two continuously rotating wires. This carries the pulp into the gap former, which rapidly drains the excess water from both sides. This immobilizes the pulp within milliseconds of leaving the head box, turning it into a continuous web of paper, still wet and fragile, but already exhibiting its most important sheet properties. The delicate paper web is now carried into the press section by continuously looped wet felts, which carry away most of the water and stop the sheets from tearing. At the shoe press, the paper web is forced between a soft rotating roller pressing against a hydraulically actuated metal pad. Water is squeezed out of the paper by this pressure, and this is absorbed and carried away by the wet felts. The longest section of the paper machine controls the dry cylinders. These huge heated rollers dry the paper, giving it the strength to become self-supporting, ready for the process which will determine its surface qualities. The paper sheet passes along the paper making machine at up to 1,400 meters per minute. Every process is continuously monitored to ensure its manufacturing consistency. The paper passes through a machine calender where two finely polished steel cylinders at a precisely determined wide apart ensure that the paper thickness is consistently even. The paper then passes through a series of sizing and coating presses. Here, starch and coating colors are applied to its surface using a film press process. The coating color is sprayed onto an elastic roll, which then transfers the coating film to the paper web. Film press coating creates a uniformly thick coating layer, which follows the surface of the paper. After each coating process, the surface is dried by infrared heating panels and drying cylinders. Setting the surface with season encourages printing inks to dry on the surface of the paper rather than be absorbed into the paper, increasing the color intensity of the finished print and improving the surface strength and water resistance of the paper. The paper is then glued onto a series of steel cores which pressed against a pulp rail. This makes sure that the paper won't add the right tension onto each core. Every hour, the paper line creates a jumbo reel containing 80 kilometers of paper sheet, 8.5 meters in weight and weighing 120 tons. The paper machine operators carefully check every aspect of the base paper quality, its thickness, opacity, and smoothness. Make sure these are exactly as specified before allowing the robot truck to carry the jumbo reel away for further treatment and finishing processes.
That I want all my children to be lawyers, at least by default, that their first degree must be, they must be law. I insisted that we must read art. But unfortunately, I discovered that later on along the line, he became so interested in so many things to the extent that my electronics at home, he will lose it so many times, he spoiled some things, and I got annoyed. What triggered this thing in me, that the interest that I started to develop in him, was a day I saw something that he developed, he did from me. I didn't see it until he took it to school, and his proprietor, the principal, captured it and posted it on WhatsApp. So when I got home and I said, where is that toy bike that you did? Now, no, I didn't do anything. I have seen it. Go and bring it.
I start with a mini power bank. Okay. Follow my society, see how the bike works, and I say I can come up with this thing. And bring everything together, go to the bin, take some things to work. This is a water fountain. Okay. Just the water pumped to the first cup, from the first cup to the second cup, and from the second cup back to the plastic.
Okay, underneath. So
this is a microscope, as I said before, for my fellow students. I built it with a CD-ROM with a camera to make it up.
Wow.
It's too small for people to see.
It's small.
Wow.
Before doing it, I have the plan. I draw the plan to make it.
This boy is somebody that is nearly written off academically. I remember what I faced when the boy was in there crossing to SS1. I know what we struggle with the parents. We struggle to give him, promote him to next class. But since the time he has come up with this, I just discovered that there has been a bit shift in academic performance.
Oh, his inventions were lovely. I never expected it from him.
Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria has established an inspectorate division of the correct. Each state has a chief inspector and other inspectors to make sure that all the buildings that are going on within the state are inspected from time to time to see to the compliance to the structural design of the building. As we know that the built environment consists of a lot of professionals, but as our duty as engineers, we need to see to the structural stability of the buildings, most importantly story buildings. So as an inspectorate division of COREG, what we do to make the environment safe is that we go on regular inspections of projects, either ongoing or existing ones. Any area that we see stress buildings that are already stressed on, we try to let the owners make remedies. But what we discovered is that everybody that wants to build, they don't even invite professionals. Most of the time, everybody is an engineer, everybody is an architect. They build on their own. They don't invite professionals to do the design. And this is the area where the problem lies, which we need to control. Like the other colleagues are agitating for a bill in the state, most of them, because we are in the state of Osun, and we need to talk of the state of Osun. So what we are saying here is that there must be a control. If the planning is very okay, along the line when the building is on, there must be control. And the control can only come by having regular inspections of the structures. We have what we call residency job in construction. There is need to have a resident architect, a resident engineer, and perhaps a resident quantity surveyor on any project that is going on. The resident architect will be monitoring the aesthetic, while the engineer will be monitoring the strength of the building. As a current inspector, our job is to make sure that each building that is ongoing in construction, what is specified in the drawings and in the calculation must be followed strictly. And that's why we need to monitor critically. But the part of the architects too. If an architect designs a building, it has to be the same thing that he designed that you are building. Otherwise, the building will not look like what an architect has in mind. And without the architect monitoring the aesthetic part of it, then the building will not be as it's supposed to be. And the role of the engineer is to make sure that all the reinforcements that are supposed to be put are put appropriately. That will not be either under or over reinforced.
So if anybody feels he doesn't have time to call the professionals for his building, why not go to private developers? Go to an estate, go and buy a building there. So if you are not having that money, then wait. After all, someone pointed a land to him. He paid. He didn't say he was not having time. He engaged a surveyor, because without the survey plan, there is no way we would have thought of this is the size of the building that we have. Whether a draftsman or an architect, he will have someone to put a drawing, to put up a drawing for him. So how come he's now saying, I'm not having time to assemble professionals? All you need to do He's just called on one of his friends. Do you know an engineer who can handle this? An architect? He gets one of these professionals, the land surveyor. He will get others. You know, the estate surveyor of Ghana said there is this association of professionals in the building industry. So once you get one of us, he will assemble others, and your money will be saved. Look at the building that collapsed in the last few weeks. So the money spent by that developer, what has happened to the money now? That means the money has gone to the drain. So maybe instead of just an additional 20%, he ran away from 20% and now lose all the money. So it's like a penny wise, pound foolish. It is something we should take serious. And like what is happening now, the governor of the state of Osun, Alhaji Igwe have said that building structures in the state, especially multi-story building, should not be inspected. And any building that does not pass the integrity test, the developer will be asked to remove the building. Look at what was happening during road construction, where buildings have to be separated from the roadways. Why did that one happen? Was it not because the developer did not consult the appropriate people? So he built on road setback.
I hope you enjoyed the program. For inquiries on sponsorship, call any of these numbers. Join us for another interesting edition next time. Bye-bye.